Yeah. Well, welcome,
Good.
Sandra.
Thank you. How are
And
you doing?
doing okay. When we had our practice meeting, we were practicing, the best speaker, and of course, I had your name there. And I'm going, you weren't at the meeting. How'd you win the best speaker when you weren't at the meeting? It must have been 7 minutes of silence.
Welcome,
Good,
Michael.
good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our members, visitors, and guests. Please note the following important announcement. By attending the remote Zoom meeting event, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agree to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as your name, your image, and any shared messages, will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and/or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Zoom Master, please start the recording. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster Club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I'm Anna Schmidt, your Sergeant at Arms for this meeting today. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better, self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we can all immediately see who is keeping our time. Our Toastmaster of the day, she hails from Mexico and will lead our meeting. Helen, she loves traveling and exploring new experiences. She is also interested in developing effective communication and leadership skills to connect better with people and foster collaboration. Please help me welcome Helen. Over to you.
Thank you, SAA Hannah, for your warm introduction. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. It is truly a pleasure to welcome you to our meeting today. In Leadership Speak, every meeting is not just a gathering. It is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to support one another in becoming better communicators and stronger leaders. What makes an effective leader? Many people believe leadership comes from having control, but in reality, some of the most effective leaders in the world lead in a very different way. They lead not as owners of power, but as stewards of responsibility. And that is exactly the spirit of our meeting today. Today's meeting theme is Lead as Stewards. A steward person is someone who takes care of something valuable that has been entrusted to him or to her. It could be a garden, a community, a team, or an organization. A steward does not simply maintain things. They protect, nurture, and strengthen them for the future. In leadership, stewardship means understanding that leadership is not just authority, it is responsibility. It is about taking care of people, building trust, and making sure that the systems we are part of continue to grow and improve. One of the biggest mistakes a leader can make is neglect. Sometimes leaders assume everything is working fine. They assume the team is okay, the system is strong, and the organization is moving in the right direction. The consequence of neglect: problems grow unnoticed, trust erodes, teams weaken, and opportunities are lost. But effective leaders act differently. They pay attention, they listen carefully, they actively support the people and systems around them. And the result is they create a culture of trust, a strong connections, and a sustainable growth. Stewardship is not just an idea, it is a discipline. It requires awareness, responsibility, and consistent effort. Leaders who practice stewardship leave a lasting impact, while those who ignore it reach serious consequences. And this is exactly how we practice here in Leadership Speak. In this club, leadership is not symbolic, it is active. Every role you see today represents someone practicing stewardship. Each member is taking responsibility for the success of the meeting and for the growth of others. Together, we safeguard something very valuable: a safe place for growth, communication, and self-directed leadership development. To our guests, welcome to our meeting, and let us begin our journey today as we lead as stewards. This meeting is divided into three main sections. The first focuses on the speeches. The second focuses on the evaluations. And the final part includes the thought of the day and guest comments. And now, to raise the toast. Our toast to the theme is Gilda Shlah. She believes in learning by doing, and the most effective leaders are caretakers. Let's warmly welcome Gilda. The floor is yours.
Toastmaster of the day, for the lovely introduction. And welcome, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Leader, when they lead as stewards, they are the caretaker of something valuable, like team, project, or any organization. It's rooted in responsibility, trust, and service. It's when leaders become responsible for the outcome, not for their own success. They prioritize the team, the mission, not their personal gain. They make decisions that benefit the long haul, not just the short-term win. They know how to create a culture of psychological safety for every member in their team. They are the temporary guardian of something bigger. I worked at a big company with many departments. My department had 300 employees. The general manager of the company, of that department, did not fail to take 1 hour of his time during work hours and speak to as many employees as he could fit in that time, connecting with them and asking them how we could improve the organization, how we could improve on the workload. That general manager was trusted leader, and that department was the most profitable department in the whole company for the 10 years I was working with the company. Leaders who get caught up in the title, they assume everything is good and they get blindsided. When this happens, things get messy and get caught off guard by unexpected issues and problems that they couldn't count for or they didn't account for. This can lead into surprises and chaos, rushed decision, and loss of trust. Stewardship is not a theory. It is a discipline that must be practiced. Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute your microphone. Turn on your camera and raise your glasses. Here's to lead as stewards.
Lead us
To lead as stewards.
Lead as
Stewards.
Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Gilda. In every successful team, there is something that keeps everything running smoothly. Time. Our timer for today is Gada Anmoyaskish. She believes that no leadership exists without team. Truly, leadership reveals itself in the strength of the bond between its people. Gada, please explain your role.
Hello, good day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm your timer for today. I shall time you accordingly to the times on the agenda. After each session, I shall post them to the chat box. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Gada. The next important person of the day meeting is grammarian. Ray Rivero is a charter member of Leadership Speak and has been a dedicated Toastmaster since January 2012. As guardians of the vision of Leadership Speak, It is important that we remain proactive in learning and apply leadership skills, not only within our club, but also beyond, in our daily lives and in the wider world. Right? Please explain your role.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster today. As the grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening to their language usage. I'll note not only any improper language, but I will also pay attention to outstanding words, quotes, and sayings. And I will also pay attention to filler words, such as well, so, like, about, and others that distract from the meaning of the speech and their key message. So today, our word is guardian. I will have this displayed on the screen and in the chat, and I will pay close attention to see how well you members of the Leadership Speak Galaxy use this word. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ray. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to all our guests. It is a pleasure to have you with us. A guest book will be available in the chat. We invite you to complete it and share any comment or feedback you may have. Now we begin with one of the most important speech. And a gentle reminder to everyone to use the word of the day. Please listen carefully and take notes. And we begin with educational speaker. I would now like to invite our evaluator, Terrence, to introduce the project of the educational speaker. Terrence, Hello, Terrence.
Hello, sorry. Hello.
Go ahead.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have the pleasure of evaluating the speech by our president, Holmes Teng. Holmes is attempting his he's attempting a project in dynamic leadership, that is level 5, preparing to speak professionally. So he's going to present a keynote style speech exemplifying a professional speaker's level point of view in a message in a style that supports the speech content. He has asked me to look for or to help him focus on connection, especially emotional connection, and I look forward to this speech. All the best in your speech, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Terrence. Holmes Teng is a club president of leadership, TMC. He works as a project manager for the Singapore government. Holmes Teng lead as stewards. Holmes Teng.
I'd like to invite everyone to think back of a time where you were granted a new title, a new position. And the scope of it can very well be in your work, your community services, or sometimes even your personal obligations. When I first took on the role of the project manager of an interagency project in Singapore. It felt really good. I'm the project manager, and I have people in my team calling me, "Hey, my PM, how are you?" It's a different treatment. The intended may be respect, but there lies a trap, which I fell into, which is I started making assumptions of what is going on. Pride crept in. I started assuming that because I had the position, therefore, the team needed to follow my instructions. I conflated and confused my title, my authority, with why I was there in the first place, which was to serve, to lead, and to serve. Things in the relationship in the project, of course, went downhill. As I started asserting myself more and more, listening less and less. There were even times where after the team was on a 60 to 80 hour work week, on a Friday night, I'm having calls with my team members, shouting through virtual calls. And that didn't wake me up. That did not wake me up. I pushed through and I kept pushing through. There were some results, of course. But the funny part is that after a while, there was one sentence from the senior executive that struck very deep in my core. It was meant to be a praise, and it went like this. To Holmes, as well as the project team, thank you so much for making my vision become the reality. It was at that moment that I started wondering, hey, Holmes, what is it that I'm fighting for? What is it that I'm working so hard for? Is it just a series of assumptions? Is it just a series of my own hypothetical thoughts of what was going on and pushing through the project? Even if there were some results and there were some outcomes that were undeniable, at the very heart of the matter, as the lead of the project, the lead of the team, where am I truly leading myself? It is in the midst of all this thinking and reflection, a stressful time, I would say, that I was exposed to various organizations. One that I'm very thankful of, which most of us are a member of, is Toastmasters International, where clubs like Leadership Speak, but remind, educate, and challenge each of us. Think carefully, feel carefully, understand carefully where we are. What are we doing? And here today, I'd like to share what I have learned in this process and also how I have changed myself. Some of the frameworks that I have in terms of how now I lead my projects, including my teams, including Leadership Speak. The framework that I'd like to share today, I put an acronym to it. STEER. S-T-E-E-R. And this would also define why today's theme is about steward and stewardship. What is at the heart of stewarding something? The first letter, S, stands for service. Especially where I am working in government, service is the heart of everything that's being done as a civil servant. It is the citizens that must benefit from each and every action, each and every project and policy that is in place. And I believe this is the same by and large for non-government organizations as well as businesses. There are teams and people in the organization. They are there because they want to serve. They want to improve what is around. The customers, the communities, their citizens. And this whole concept of service comes with the T, which is the trust. Governments and non-profit organizations are there to serve and empowered to serve because of votes, because of trust, because of systems that's in place that gives them the resources and authority. Businesses are given the opportunities to be there in large part because customers trust them to fulfill a want or need. Reliable services, reliable food, safe water, for example, are things why I personally continuously, repeatedly go back to a few companies for the same services because I want my life to be protected by certain features. Be it government, non-profit, or profit organizations, all of them act as guardians, large systems as guardians for the lives of ordinary citizens, of ordinary community members. That you and I, when we leave behind our authority and titles, we fundamentally are an ordinary human being, an ordinary member of the communities we are of. The third letter, E, endurance. Systems, systems, systems. Early on in my career, when I heard the word systems, the only thing that came to my mind is information technology systems, or the laptop plus some network. But that's not what systems is about. Systems, it's about the very law, the very order, the very structure, the very way that we behave and we think. And most systems are invisible. This is our core value. This is our vision, how we operate and how we think. And Toastmasters International itself gives us very good guidance. Everything we do, act with integrity, act in service, go for excellence. And as we plan through, for example, in leadership speak, we have guides for every single role. Why is it that some leaders, inclusive myself, take time and effort to write down what is the expectations? What are some of the standards? What are the key roles and responsibilities? It is because we have identified something that is important, and we want to ensure that this important aspects, the role of the GE, for example, the role of the TMOD, for example, to help improve the club, to coordinate what's inside the meeting is there. So that as different people take on these roles, they can perform the function well and continue to have this core function in the club as the meetings go through, as the different generations of leaders and excoms come and go about. And here I alluded to the second E, which is the fourth letter. when you act in enduring systems, you still need to empower the very people. Yes, I said there are structures. There are core roles and responsibilities. But members also need to be empowered, similarly to citizens and customers. Listen to them carefully. When they are entrusted onto a role to lead, when they are entrusted on the role to evaluate and comment, as president myself, as project manager myself, and in leaders of various capacities in some other organizations and teams, if I have repeated meetings and every single person agrees with me, I don't feel comfortable. It cannot be that when decisions are being made and where there clearly are trade-offs, nobody is unhappy about it. If nobody is unhappy, there are a few reasons. Number one, as a leader, I have eliminated. You can imagine what eliminate means. Eliminated all the people who have a different opinion from my team. Number two, for whatever reason, they do not feel empowered and they do not feel safe to share their perspectives. And then they became quiet. They think, oh, Holmes is going to just be a leader for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 years. After that, he's gone. Let's just endure this process. Now, this is the wrong endurance. We have to be able, as leaders, we have to be able to accept different voices. And some ways I do this, aside from surveys and interviews, which are more structured methods, some other ways, which I find very useful, are the smaller talks, the connections. For those of us who have the fortune, and I would say fortune and blessing in this sense, to be able to have face-to-face and physical interaction with your teams, value those opportunities, value corridor talks, value your lift talks, value the chances you can pull someone aside before and after a meeting and just check in. Hey, my friend, do you have 5-10 minutes? How are you? How's your fatherly duties doing with your 2 newborn? And for some other organizations, including ours at Leadership Speak, where we come from 30 over countries, we have 60 over members. Unfortunately, we are not in the position to organize monthly physical gatherings. If someone wants to sponsor all 60 members to fly to a country, let me know. I'm happy to organize that. But the reality is that when we have chosen to be an online club, we also accepted there are some pros and cons to the ways that we manage. And in these cases and these kinds of organizations, technology becomes important. We embrace technology like Zoom. There are other tools around that club members may have explored. A series of Google Suite from Google Forms, Google Notes. There are also others, Calendly, Gen AI, which I not only encourage, I believe, majority, if not all of our members, to some extent, are using and exploring. And a few people whom I trust as IT support, I'm very confident they also remain open to new technologies that are coming, as well as new ways of using the same technology, so that we can become more efficient, as well as being able to stay connected with one another as we go on with our lives. And all these systems, all this technology comes the last R. Responsibility. As leaders ourselves, the responsibility part, of course, comes in part from the roles and responsibilities, which are likely in our charter documents or job descriptions. But sometimes we really need to be very sensitive about what's not written, what is expected. This is more important for some of our personal commitments. And when I say personal here, I don't just mean our friends, our families, and our communities that don't give us formal authority and titles. I also mean in our workplaces, in our community organizations. At the very fundamental of all these organizations are people. As leaders, we can only be leaders if there are people that are around for us to communicate with, for us to lead, for us to influence. And the relationship that you form with each other ultimately has a personal aspect. Relate to individuals as real human beings on a personal level. That's where a huge part of a responsibility. It may seem like a very small part from one perspective, but when you start to appreciate the importance of personal relationship, it is a fundamental aspect of the whole suite of roles and responsibilities that a leader have. And here we have steer. As leaders, we steer our organizations, our systems to serve with trust, S-T. They need to endure over time, E. We need to empower our people, E. And we need to do this responsibly. Service, trust, endurance, empowerment, responsibility. And how do things look at now? And I want to stress, I'm not a perfect leader or perfect product. I'm a work in progress, as I believe we all are. But how are things a bit different now? I can be sure to tell you there are still moments where my meetings get contentious. There are still times where you can clearly see people is unhappy. Somebody is unhappy about some proposal, some decision that's being made, because the trade-offs are painful. But nevertheless, I'm very happy to say there is lesser and lesser of the 60 to 80 hours work week where emotions get high. It's somewhat a surprising offshoot for me, because as I gradually learn to trust my team and accept their trust, to empower them to look at the systems in place, people spend less time being irritated and dreading and just acting in paralysis, what should be done? And being more able to be focused. Okay, there's a problem. Yes, there are trade-offs. I don't like the trade-offs. But can we at least get something moving so that at least a core part of our service continues, improves, and we are getting somewhere? And as much as possible, try to minimize the trade-off and the progress. And all this requires that the team comes together, do something collectively, and move ahead with the organization. Meetings do go on with disagreements, but the disagreements are recognized. As the meeting facilitator myself, I'm very careful that when I propose something, as much as possible, I would recognize the options that are considered, the trade-offs that are considered. We're going to cut this particular service, which, yes, members and guests, even government organizations cut services too from time to time. but we are very careful when this service is cut. Why is it being cut? How is it being considered? And how is it that the core needs of this part of the people that we are serving do not become neglected? There are workarounds. There are ways that the necessary processes, the necessary parts of our community life can continue and proceed. So members and guests, I'll wrap up to say, hearing leadership speak, it is by default assumed that even if you're a guest here, you are here because you're interested in leadership. That's what this club is about, leadership speak. And I would further challenge every one of you. Members have signed up for it, as guests you have not, but I challenge you not only to be a leader, but a self-directed leader. This means what fundamentally motivates you, drives you, pushes you forward, reminds you of your service. It's not what your boss or some stakeholder says, not what your customer says or don't say. It's about what you believe in. And here, I hope that your takeaway from my keynote today is that what you care about, what you want to do, is to steer your teams, your organizations, and your systems. Be stewards. Stewards that value service, trust, endurance, empowerment, and responsibility. TMOD.
Thank you, Holmes. True leadership is not about authority. It's about serving others, building trust, creating lasting systems, and empowering people through listening. Thank you very much. To our guests, welcome. We truly appreciate you being here with us today. We will share a guest book in the chat. Please feel free to sign and leave any impressions or suggestions you'd like to share. Now, let's continue with the prepared speeches, the core of our meeting. Let's listen, learn, and support our speakers. A gentle reminder to use the word of the day. Please pay attention and take note. Before each speaker, the evaluator will briefly read the purpose statement for that specific project. Our first speaker is Paramjit Singh. I'd like to invite his evaluator, Rashmi Udeshi, to introduce Paramjit's project. Hello, Rashmi.
Hello, greetings. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Greetings to all fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, I am honored to be the guardian of the speaker Paramjit Singh. Paramjit Singh is doing Level 3 project Connect with Storytelling in the pathway Visionary Communication. The purpose of his speech is using story in a speech or giving a speech that's a story. I will preserve my thoughts on his focus area, that is how his body language and vocal variety keeps the audience engaged and how well he connects with his story and delivers the message. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, to introduce the
Thank you,
speech.
Rashmi. Paramjit has been a Toastmaster for 5 years and is based in Shlah. He is a vast area director, a design and development manager, and NLP trainer and growth mindset coach. He believes that true stewards don't chase authority. Instead, they build legacy by nurturing people, values, and impact beyond their own tenure. Paramjit Singh, be the mango tree. Be the mango tree. Paramjit Singh.
Fellow Toastmasters and the guests, imagine you accidentally hit the most powerful leader of your country by a stone. What do you expect? Prison, execution, or even maybe more than unexpected. The similar thing happened around 200 years ago in Punjab, the north state of India, a fertile land full of agriculture. And now imagine you are in Punjab. Means the sun, the bright sun, is pouring his warmth on the vast fields. And in a shady corner of an orchard, a giant mango tree is standing. And its branches are drooping down with the delicious and sun-kissed mangoes. The air is heavy with the fragrance of mango, ripe mango. The leaves are whispering with the breeze. And there sits beneath it the king, the most powerful leader of that time, the Lion of Punjab, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, whose boundaries of area reached from north of Delhi to Afghanistan and to China. And he was the most powerful but very humble Maharaja. There was a red carpet stretched beneath him with a velvet of roses. The bowls were shimmering with the sunlight, and the servants were fanning him very silently. And in the king, in his hand, there was a mango. And as he sliced down the golden flesh, the juice is pouring from his head. And then suddenly, thud, a stone hit his forehead. And the blood started oozing out from here. This was not a stone. This was an enemy attack. So blisters freeze, and the guards went out to look for the culprit. And soon the culprit was Dr. Teng. He was brought forward. He was not a dangerous killer, not an enemy king, but a small teenager village boy. And he was trembling with fear, and he said, Your Majesty, I was just aiming at the mango. Oh. But the king was very calm. He asked him, Do you own the orchard? No. So you were stealing? The minister said, Punish him. And the guards were just looking for the command to punish him. But Maharaja was very calm. And he wiped out his blood. And then he said, "Calm down, boy. I know your intentions were not bad, but you can still choose your own punishment." But no, the boy said, he started pleading, "Your Majesty, you are the giver, you are the forgiver. Please, I know my sin is unpardonable, but if somebody can give me a fitting punishment, it is only you." Now there was a silence. Everybody was looking at the king. The orchard held the breath. Total silence. And then the king laughed, not mockingly, but with warmth. And he said, "Young boy, if you are hitting the mango tree with a stone, you are getting the mango. But now you have hit the king, so I can do better than a mango tree." And he removed his pearl necklace and gave him. He ordered a pouch of gold coins for him, as well as a bucket full of mangoes for him. That day, something extraordinary happened. The king was hit by the stone, but it was not the victory of power, but it was a victory of using the response accordingly. Because the strength doesn't lie in power to punish, but use the power with the wisdom to the grace. My dear friend, that day I realized it is not the king's story. It is a story of all of us. On the daily basis, we get so much of stones thrown to us. Not the stones, the physical stone, but the verbal stones. Harsh criticisms, sharp comments, unfair judgments, bruised egos. And what we do? We picked up a bigger stone and throw it to them. But wait for a moment. If a deep-rooted tree can give us the stone, give us the mango, and that also without asking who is hitting. What about us? Are we less than a tree? So next year, my dear friends, when somebody hits it, throw a stone on you, just wait and think what you are going to give to him. In the world of full of stone throwers, you can be another stone thrower, or you can become a visionary leader who choose to be fair, who choose to be kind, who choose to be helpful, or choose to be a mango tree. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Paramjit. My takeaway: true leadership shows compassion and understanding, even in moments of power. Our second speaker is Hannah Schmidt, and her evaluator is Leya Musunga. Hello.
Thank you so much.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm all right.
Please, can you introduce Hannah's project?
Thank you so much for that, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. So I have the privilege today of evaluating Hannah Schmidt as she's presenting from Presentation Mastery, the Pathway, Connect with Storytelling. So I'll be seeing, she will be sharing a story, and I'll be seeing how well it, in terms of the storytelling connection that she'll be presenting with her speech today. So I'll also be looking out for her vocal variety and body language, and especially how the message she is conveying connects with us, the audience. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Leya. Hannah is a self-directed leader with the aim of processing deliberately, strengthening her voice, and inspiring others to make meaningful steps towards their own development. Hannah, passport and password. Passport and password. Hannah Schmidt.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. How we cross borders matters more than how far we travel. What is important? It is the journey. It is the way we travel, stamped with a passport and secured with a password. It is the ability to connect. Even when we're far apart, we are close. Madam Toastmaster, my daughter Erica and I, we were enjoying coffee, reminiscing about how to connect with my children, because they're in New Zealand, the UK, Germany, and the US. Just then, the postman rang twice. Erica, look here, I've just received my passport, my new passport. Oh, mother, that is wonderful news. Now you have ample reason to travel the world. This little book called Passport opens the world. When and how we cross the borders physically. Susan Sontag said, I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list and on mine as well. And indeed, with my new passport, that was the beginning of a great adventure. I'm on my way to visit my children. However, it has limitations. I can only visit one family at a time. Yet, when I visit my children, my grandchildren, we celebrate milestones, share hugs. We sit around Sunday lunches that stretch well into the afternoon and sometimes into dinner time. And this genuine human connection doesn't just fill time, it fills my heart. It is during these quiet, fleeting, yet unforgettable moments, the laughter, the stories, the gentle silence, that I realize how grateful I am. We are not far apart, we are close. However, then came 2020. Who remembers the year 2020? I suppose most of us. Because 2020 just didn't cancel my travel plans, it also put my dreams on hold. Suddenly, no visits, no hugs, no Sunday lunches. Yet, those important moments, they just didn't disappear. They quietly moved onto my list. Ladies and gentlemen, my daughter Erica and I were enjoying coffee, reminiscing on how to connect with her siblings now after 2020. Just then, Mother, look here, what I've got. I've created a password. Here, Erica. And this little word called password opens the worlds when and how we cross the borders virtually. And that marked the start of a new adventure. I'm on one screen, one platform, with all my siblings and all my grandchildren. Even when far, we are close. And I now have the power to connect. Using my correct password, I open my screen. Blank screen. Ian, Wally, Richard, where are you? Mother, open your video. Click. Done. But I can hear the silence. Mother, you are muted. Click. I am connected. Madam Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever experienced these moments of anxiety? These newly required skills give me the confidence to explore more. I now attend Toastmaster meetings around the globe with a single click. Whether it's cancer flights, another global disruption, or a blank screen with no sound, these issues have now become challenges. In the end, what really matters is how we cross the borders. Is it with a stamped passport or a typed password? Choose your connections. Choose to reach out. Choose how to cross the borders. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Hannah. True connection isn't about distance. It's about the moments we share and the love that keeps us close. The final speaker today is Kanav, Hurria. And I would like to invite his evaluator, Iris Cassinela, to introduce Kanav project. Hello.
Hello. Every speaker needs a guardian. Every speaker needs a guardian. So it is my pleasure today to introduce fellow Toastmaster Kanav, who will deliver a speech titled "The People We Follow." The people we follow. In this speech, he intends to strengthen his abilities to influence and persuade our audience. In this speech, he's asked me to pay particular attention and focus on the voice modulation. Without any further ado, please join me in welcoming our fellow Toastmaster, Kanav. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Kanav. He is an advocate by profession and a Toastmaster by passion and by his own honest admission, sometimes depressed by nature. But I think that honesty is exactly what makes him relatable, authentic, and engaging. On today's theme, Kanav think that leading people is never easy until you make it. Just by looking after everyone possible. So Kanav, Hurria, the people we follow. The people we follow. Kanav, Hurria.
Thank you, Toastmaster Helen. As she introduced myself, that I am depressed by nature. I gave that introduction by purpose. I just wanted to tell that I had a life. Then I was sad, depressed. I could not wake out of my comfort zone. I could not get up out of my home, my bed. No friends, no person to talk to, and it has just been awful. But it was all due to the factor that I think that I am too much in my own mind. So I have to make sure that I was a clear person in my mind. So I had to make myself clear. So I had to follow certain people that I learn from. So instead of being depressed, choose people which teach you something. Here, joining our own club, Leadership Speak, has made me encourage to be more stronger and be more impactful and be a little more into speaking. There might be some errors at my end, but which I'm trying to work upon. So I have my virtual background, which has been an issue. So there's something in our club that has high standard. So due to that standard, which has to be followed, needs to be looked upon. So am I following the standard of the club? Am I following the people in the club? Is the question. Follow everyone. Learn from everyone in the club. That's what this club has taught me. And I am trying to implement it in the club and also other clubs which I am, and also in my personal life. I am following the people which can make me out of my depressed zone and be more confident, be more polite, be present, and get out of your own mind. You are too much into your mind, bro. That's not get out and work on yourself. Follow people, follow someone who you can look up to. There are people in our club, there are people outside my journey in law. I had many people to follow. So can we find those people? Are you finding those people? To get out of that zone, I was depressed. So I had to find more and more people to get out of it. Are you finding your right people? That's it from my side. Back to Toastmaster Hill.
Thank you very much, Kanav. Yes, of course. Focus on learning from others and improving yourself rather than getting stuck in your own thoughts. Thank you to all our speakers for your courage and preparation. You inspired us and we grow with you. Well done. Before we move on, a warm welcome to our guests. We are happy you are here. Please take a moment to sign the guest book in the chat and share any feedback you'd like. I would like to request our timer to please post the timing signals in the chat. Timer, thank you very much. Now it's time to recognize the efforts of our speakers. I master for the best speaker. Zoom master. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your participation. Now we move from delivering speeches to reflecting on them. We enter one of the most valuable parts of our meeting, the evaluation section. This is where we grow through constructive feedback, encouragement, and shared learning. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our general evaluator, Mrinal Kanti Ghosh. Mrinal is a passionate Toastmaster and a long life learner with over 20 years of corporate experience and currently as a market access leader. He strongly believes in the power of effective communication and transformational leadership. He is deeply committed to growing together, delivering quality speeches, and creating meaningful impact. For him, Toastmasters is not just a platform, it is a journey of continuous growth, self-discovery, and leadership excellence. Please join me in warmly welcome Mrinal Kanti Ghosh. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Evaluators. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters, and all the presents over here. And today we have learned an amazing speech from different speakers. Now coming back to my role as a general evaluator, my role is like a mirror. A mirror does not criticize. It simply reflects what it sees so that we can improve ourselves. During today's meeting, I'll observe the overall quality of the meeting, including the preparation and performance of the role players, the effectiveness of the evaluations, the meeting structure, and the time management, and final, not the least, the energy and the engagement of the session. So for that, it's time to call up the podium, in our virtual podium, our evaluator, Toastmaster Nicole. Toastmaster Nicole believes leading with stewardship is a driving force behind impactful leaders. Over to you, Nicole. Please evaluate Gilda.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Gilda, I'll begin with where you excelled. First, your structure and message. You had a clear takeaway. Stewardship is a discipline that must be practiced. Your content was well organized, and your central message aligned with today's theme, Lead as Steward. And you emphasized that stewardship is a discipline in action. And that message carried consistently throughout your toast. Your use of storytelling was impactful, particularly your example of your former general manager that brought authenticity and helped us see stewardship in action. Second is your delivery. You excelled here. Your voice was enthusiastic, bright smile, and your inflection reflected that genuine conviction about your thoughts on stewardship. It was clear that you believe in what you were sharing, and that made your message more impactful and engaging. 2 recommendations to elevate you further. First, your opening as a toast. Your start did not clearly signal that you were inviting us to a toast, more sound like a structured speech. A simple cue such as, please join me in raising a toast, or it's a pleasure, it's my honor to raise a toast to, and so on, would immediately set the context and engage the audience in that moment. And then your Zoom presence, that could be elevated Your presence on camera can be enhanced by just adjusting your framing so that the audience can see your expressions and gestures clearly. Centering yourself in the frame and checking beforehand will enhance your overall delivery. So in summary, your message was clear and you had a structure and enthusiastic delivery. With a clearer toast opening and improved Zoom presence, your impact will be even stronger. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I can see you lead as a Stewards, leading with responsibility, care, accountability for something that interested our toast evaluator, Gilda. Nicely, you encourage Gilda that she did a fabulous job with full of energy and some point of improvement area so that she become better person when she next time raise a toast. Thank you so much. It's time to call the virtual podium Toastmaster Youselee. Usually, she believed, encourage us to seek a lasting and positive impact, whether throughout our action or our attitude towards others. Well said, Youselee. It's time to evaluate our Toastmaster of the day. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Congratulations, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Hmok. You were well prepared for your role today. Before today, you had your group ready to welcome every role players. And throughout the week, you keep sending gentle messages to the members to encourage them, to remind them what to do in order to have a well-organized meeting. Congratulations for that. Regarding your presentation, your role today, you came enthusiastic, you were confident, and you had this welcoming face with a smile that make people feel comfortable to come to look at you and to participate. Congratulations for that. During your introduction, it was a well-prepared speech. I said, wow, it's a 5 to 7 minutes speech. That's something you could even get evaluated for. It was so well crafted with impactful messages. You had smooth transition between after one or other speakers. Congratulations for that. And you showed during your presentation, you had an attentive listening because you shared your own takeaway from each speaker. I had few points that I would like you to work on for the next time when you are playing this role of Toastmaster of the Day. The first one is your hand gestures. During your presentation, you had the same hand gestures for different or for opposite ideas. When the ideas are not the same, try to have different hand gestures that can make the message even more impactful or your body language even more good for your presentation. The tone of voice. When you are going from one idea to another one, you keep the same tone of voice. You can change so that it can be easier for people to see that now you are talking about this and now you move on to another point. And the last thing is when you are talking about the speakers, you say one of the most important speaker. When you are the host, it's not really appropriate to say that, because when you said one is more important, it means that the others are not as important as the previous one. So keep it simple, or keep everyone that will speak at the same level, same respect, same appreciation. That's all, and congratulations. It was a wonderful meeting. I enjoy it. So it is the first time and not the last. We are waiting for you for the next time. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Youselee. I think role as an evaluator, you lead as a guardian. What is the role of a guardian? Taking care of responsibility, care, and give the right direction for the speaker. And exactly, you did the same. You're talking about what she did great and what she could improve next time. And talking about our Madam Toastmaster, I think your smiling is simply awesome, and the smooth transitions. You know the every role player's introductions very carefully, and throughout you are amazing. Only one thing, usually, I think I must echo with you that you're talking about the transition, and during the maybe one speaker to another speaker, the voice modulation. That part I think you can show how she can improve with proper example, so that next time when she play a role as a Toastmaster of the day, she can implement it in personally with genuine authenticity. Just a more small example, and otherwise you take a lead as a guardian. Thank you, Youselee. Now it's time to call our first lead evaluator for today's meeting. He is none other than Toastmaster Terrence. And Toastmaster Terrence, leading as stewards, highlights our role as the people entrusted with the responsibility to take care on behalf of others. We are all stewards in our various spaces, and especially as leaders, who had the humility to see ourselves as such much privilege. With that note, it's time to call our educational speaker evaluator, Terrence. Please evaluate our educational speaker, Toastmaster Holmes. Back to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I will be sharing a brief evaluation of what we saw with the delivery that was done by Toastmaster Holmes Teng. First and foremost, these are the things that showed excellence. This was a keynote speech, and the first thing that I noticed in this speech was the key message. Remember, our theme today is lead as stewards. And at any point, if somebody was to join at any point and listen to this speech, even start the speech at any point, by the end of the speech, they would gather that we are talking about leading as stewards. And that was excellent on your part, Holmes, because that is the main idea behind the speech, that your message is sent home. And this will lead me to what you asked me to look out for. Were you able to connect emotionally? Let's look at the other positives and we will see if that comes through. The second one was on the structure and the organization of the speech. Right from the start, right from the story where we were called in to reflect on our own leadership journey, through to your personal story as a leader, especially as a project manager, and what that did to you. And now, as a member of Leadership Speak, that brought us all to ask ourselves, what about us? What about you? What is your story, and what does that do for us? So that was connection, in the sense that in your structure and in your organization, we could see that you not only brought in yourself, but you also brought in the audience, that they could relate, they could connect to that story, because you started with your personal story through to an area where we all connect, and finally a call to action, which leads me to the third impactful area of your speech, which was the call to action. The call to action was effective because you called us out as leaders who want to be self-directed leaders. What are we supposed to do? You reminded us. And that, in effect, led to emotional connection with your audience, that throughout your speech, your audience could see your story, a shared goal, and finally, what they need to do to get to that level. And as a keynote speak, this leads me to the area where we can go further, where we can excel even further. The first opportunity for you is the gestures, especially the hand gestures. I noticed at some point that the hand gestures were convoluted. You couldn't tell this from the others. And so I would encourage you to make them deliberate. And next, because it's a keynote speech lasting more than 15 minutes, you may challenge yourself to use aids like slides or props, maybe a book or something that can enhance your speech. And that leads me to the conclusion, which I will summarize by saying that in your message and in your delivery, we saw the key message, and I could see the structure and organization where you excelled, and finally, the call to action. And an area you can improve is the gestures, especially the hand gestures, and incorporating something that can help us remember, including, or for example, slides, especially for such, or props for such a presentation. Thank you, and back to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Terrence. First thing I just share with you that I'm always mesmerized with your voice. Your voice is so amazing. And I try to listen each and every word whenever you sing anything. And that's always encourages us how we should speak. Thank you so much, Terrence, for your amazing voice. Now coming, I'm also observing the same things. I think you're talking about the gesture, then use of slide, and use some probing, because this is all about the educational speech. But one thing I can recommend that talking about, I think even Holmes also highlighted STEER abbreviation and how he can use the abbreviation to LS or maybe the professional world with proper example like service, trust, endurance, empower, responsibility. The proper example, the story. You both, I know that's even Holmes also amazing storyteller, but that help us. I know that's what is the exactly meaning of these all things, but where you implemented that. I know that you already implemented in leadership speak also, you are doing that, but give the example with specific name, those who really doing that. And that encourages us, our members, to do better in the next level because you are already a leader for our club and also in your also project manager for your own domain. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you so much for your evaluation. Next evaluator is our Rashmi. Toastmaster Rashmi served as a president and also finance manager in District 114. She believed leadership is rooted in responsibility and trust. She's not only support people, but also guide the club growth and also ensure transparency, accountability, and sustainability in how we manage our resources. She believes in strong reinforcement by the theme lead as stewards, because true leadership is about caring for what is entrusted to us and strengthening it for the future. Rashmi, please evaluate our first speaker, Toastmaster Paramjit. Back to you.
Thank you to our general evaluator. Greetings to all, and especially to our speaker, Paramjit Singh. Toastmaster Paramjit Singh, your opening hook question was energetic and it immediately caught attention and audience engagement. You began with an amazing story and you excelled at storytelling. You had characters in your story, the king and the little boy and a mango tree. You created the scene. You had Maharaja Ranjit Singh and you expressed his valor, kindness, and intellectual intelligence. Your vocal variety, tone, speed, volume, as well as spacing, all was impactful, and you created a vivid story and had a descriptive language for your story. Your body language was confident, you were confident, and you were very purposeful to deliver your message. Your story came up with a solid message, and you rightly said, as a visionary leader, you react to the situation, think wisely, and you showed the grace of King and how he gave back thoughtfully. Your message was perfectly delivered. What I will recommend you, 2 recommendation, is you had such a beautiful descriptive language. If you could have, instead of having leadership speak when you are speaking, if your background will have taken us to Punjab and we will have seen a mango tree there, that will have added value to your story. And the second, I will also recommend you, if you could work on your time, because it was 7.51. Those are the 2 recommendations. But apart from that, as a guardian of your speech, and for you excelled at your storytelling, and you had a strong message, you delivered a strong message, how to react as a visionary leader to situation, and how you show the power of grace and giving, which has a lasting takeaway for all of us. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rashmi. Thank you for your wonderful evaluation. And you always try to, I know that you always try to encourage the speaker to do better. You so full of energy that what he did fantastic in his speech, and what are the things he can improve. Like you are talking about better than leadership background, it's better to have one mango tree so that everybody can correlate much more better with personal story, because it's all about personal story. Another thing I think you should work on that, I think for this speech, I think it's all about the story of Maharaja Harjit Singh. Here, lot of voice modulation. And Paramjit in LS is a guardian for voice modulation. Here, he can implement the voice modulation from one story to the key messages and key messages for the audience, where he can change the voice just like a share market. That part, if you try to bring, then simply see that part you at this stage. Apart from, you are doing a great job with your evaluation. Thank you so much, Rashmi. Next, it's time to call upon our second evaluator, Toastmaster Leya. Toastmaster Leya believes the theme leads with stewards, reframes leadership away from command and control towards responsibility and care. Leya, over to you. Please evaluate our second speaker, Hannah Smith. Over to you.
How will you cross the border? Thank you so much, Hannah, for presenting your speech today, which was on connecting with storytelling. And I think it's very clear that you did achieve the objective of your speech today. And I think you grabbed us all, even just from the title of the speech, Password or Passport. Makes you wonder, what is this speech going to be about? It makes us want to think, okay, let me hear what this is really going to be getting into. So I think that was one of the first things that you did by just grabbing our attention with even just the title of your speech, because I was wondering what the speech would be about. So several things that I picked up, which I thought you did really well in your speech presentation today. You asked several questions during your presentation, which I felt was a good way of connecting with us, your audience, and you even paused at some points so that we could reflect on the question that you had posed to us, your audience. I thought that was really well done. And then in terms of your use of vocal variety and body language, I must say you had variations, especially of vocal variety. There were times you would even come closer to the screen. So that's already body language. And then our vocal variation where you would whisper, so that variation added that, added dynamic in your speech as you were presenting. And I also enjoyed the dialogue that you had. So that's another form of where you can have vocal variation, the dialogue of your children, where in terms of the conversation. So now we got to hear your children's voices in a certain way. So that was really good. On the hugs that you miss or that you would hope to get, that's another way of body language, great body language uses. Third thing that I also picked up was the use of the props. I thought that was a really great visual representation of what you were speaking about, the passport and also the password. Then we had that visual representation to connect us even further with the story that you were sharing. So I thought those elements were very well executed in your speech today. If there's one thing I can say, Hannah, that maybe you may want to challenge yourself, maybe in your next speech, is I've noticed that when you presented your speech, you were just in one particular spot. So maybe just as a challenge, I know this is Zoom, you can, move around. You start off here, go to the center, go to the other end, and then you end up there in the middle, just as a challenge when you do present your speech, so that, you can add extra layers or dynamics in your presentation. Other than that, well done in the questions, the use of vocal variety, and the use of the props. Maybe challenge yourself to move a little bit more around the screen. And may we all wonder whether we'll use the passport or the password. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Leya. I love your smile throughout your evaluating someone and smile continuously. It's not an easy task. It's a really challenging task, and you did it fabulous. For me, you are just like a micro observer. Each and every micro details you observe very carefully, starting for the good thing, what are the things to improve. Simply awesome. Even I also recommend the same thing to Hannah, that regarding the voice modulation part when you conversation with child and the props, you can implement that. You are already an amazing speaker. For Leya also, you are an eloquent observer, great leader, and you today play a genuine role as a guardian for Toastmaster Hannah in your evaluation. Thank you so much for your in-depth evaluation. I am definitely sure Hannah will implement it in her next speech and feel you benefited from your evaluation. Thank you so much, Leya. It's time to our last evaluator for today's meeting, Aris. Aris believing today's theme, lead as stewards, remind us that leadership is not about just authority, but about responsibility and care. Stewarding people, ideas, and opportunities with purpose. Thank you so much for your thoughts on lead as stewards. It's time to take a role as a guardian for our evaluator, Kanav. Back to you, Edis.
Thank you very much for Toastmaster of the day. Kanav, your speech, the people we follow, was delivered very strongly. You asked me to look into the voice modulation. I can tell you now that your voice modulation was very effective. I did like also the body language throughout your speech. Really great to see that the body language and your body language really followed the key messages that you delivered to us today. It was really aligned with your intent to be persuasive. Another thing that I would say is that at the end of your speech, you did bring the call to action around following the people. You mentioned words like you follow people in the leadership speak, and you are calling to action for us to know, not only to follow the people, but to know the people. So really strong delivery. The local variety, the voice variety was great, like I said. I mean, the flow was really good. You were very clear on your delivery. It was flawless, to say the least. Just one recommendation, Kanav. There were occasions where I did feel that something was causing some lack of focus. Some points where you seemed to be distracted by someone or something. It was very noticeable to the audience. If nothing more, Master Kanav, going forward, I recommend that you set the scene in a way that there are no distractions, so you can keep full presence on your delivery. Overall, like I said, great delivery, great speech, good flow, good voice modulation, great and impressive body language. The content was clear and was engaging. Like I said, for the future, set the scene so that doesn't cause any distraction to you or to the audience. Thank you very much for your speech. Really well done. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Ace, for your evaluation. It's a good observation. I know that you are always trying to think the good things about the speaker. And that's you always try to encourage the speaker to do better. You capture all the important parameters. Only one thing I think regarding the voice modulation, in his speech, he can work much good things about, because this is all about the storytelling. In storytelling, we all need to learn how we effectively use the voice modulation. And definitely the focus part, and also how we can connect with the audience through eye contact. That part also need to focus. Thank you so much. It's for your evaluation. It's time for our timer. Gilda, please share your timer report in the Zoom chat box. Thank you. Gilda is so quickly. Before my finishing my work, she is already shared in the Zoom chat box. Now it's time to call upon our grammarian of today's meeting, DTM Ray Rivalo. Ray, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mrinal. Overall, I feel our speakers did a fantastic job of speaking, and I found myself at times captivated by their sayings. First, the word of the day. I want to thank each and every one of you for not putting multiple versions of Guardian in the chat, except when you want to express something sincere to the speakers and evaluators. So, Gilda, Guarda, Iris, and Mrinal, thank you for using the word of the day either in chat or speaking or both. There's some very important statements that were made. Iris, every speaker needs a guardian. Kanav, focus on learning from others instead of being trapped in our own thoughts. The courage to be vulnerable. And Steer by Holmes, service, trust, endurance, empowerment, and responsibility. And a little side note from Rashmi, Maharaja Paramjit Singh. Paramjit, you now have a new nickname from the club. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ray, for your active observation, who using the word of the day and encourage and also appreciate that those who use word of the day and good uses words, sentences, everything you mentioned about it. Thank you so much, Ray, for your amazing report as a grammarian. It's time for the best effort evaluator voting. Master plays here the best evaluator. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Hmm.
First, we always learn from leadership speak how we become a better version of ourselves. We challenge each and every area, how we can improve that. Today, topic, lead at Stewards, means leading with responsibility, care, accountability for something that is entrusted to us. And we are already doing that. Starting with Shah, Kanav. We all know that Shah always play, Sergeant and Arms is always play a very pivotal role for success of any meeting. The energy and on time, our meeting time dot, not we are not miss even in a second also. That shows the dedication of our club members. I know in today's meeting how much efforts put by our Toastmaster that they leave. Amazing, simply awesome. She connected with each and everyone, I think more than 10 days before, with each and everyone, so that we organize the meeting well advanced, well structured, well mannered, and definitely take ownership for our roles. For me, she already taking care of our meeting as a guardian of leadership speak, so that every member, every role players in the right direction. She never not even try to connect with any role player, starting from the speaker, starting from every role player. What's happening? Have you connected with regular interval? Have you connected with evaluator? Have you connected with all the members? That's those dedications. Simply awesome. Thank you so much. We are proud of you that you did a fabulous job in today's meeting as a Toastmaster of the day. Then starting from our evaluator toast Gilda, I already discussed that Gilda is always, whenever she raises a toast, she always set a bar for us, how we can excel in our domain. And exactly you did that with the theme of our meeting. Our evaluator, starting from Terrence, what an eloquent voice he has, and that's the power. And we should learn that kind of voice, how you can implement that. Because you can do one event, how you can implement that. That thing we need to learn from you. Starting from our Rashmi, our evaluator, that's the how we can structure the evaluation, the proper structure of evaluation. Simply awesome. Leya, Grace, simply awesome, smiling, such innocent smiling, and learning so many things of you. You always try to capture the micro details of each and every evaluation so that speaker can benefit from your evaluations. Aris, you always try to encourage the speaker how he can do better. Yes, we always play a role as a mirror. At the beginning of the meeting, that our role as an evaluator should be the mirror. What is a reflection for the speaker that we need to observe. And some of the silent role player who always they are in the background, but their contribution is mammoth. Starting from Zoom Master, Sansa. Your role, I know that the Zoom Master role play a very pivotal role, and you did a great job. Sandra, always encourage all the speaker, all the evaluator, and always is a silent observer for the meeting, and always put in the Zoom chat. And all the guests, without guests, it's not possible. So now it's coming for the speaker, our leadership speaker, Holmes. Today I learned, for me actually, I last year, service, trust, endurance, empower, and responsibility. And how in our own life, how we can implement that. I think that's a great message you provided us for all of us, whether maybe in the Toastmaster journey, maybe in the personal journey, or maybe in the professional journey. Next speaker, Paramjit, being a mango tree, how we can try to being a mango in our life. Great storytelling, great message. We learned many things from you. That criticism, we always try to better criticize others. Rather than criticize others, we should not carry the criticism or ego part in our life. It's time to support each other's responsibility, care, and accountability. And that's exactly the theme of our meeting, lead as stewards. Hannah, passport or password? Your transformation journey is not an easy task, and you did a great job. For me, you are already a Zoom hopper. I think you are one of the members who always try to deliver speeches in most of the club, and the way you improve, and that's your journey is really inspiring journey. We learn many things from your speech, that how we should connect with the world without any passport. Thank you so much. Kanav, your journey is really inspiring. How to follow people, tell how people will follow. Your journey as a request manager said you are not there in the comfort zone. There no friend, and how will you transform your life? That life we also want to lead, and we want to learn from all your life journey. So with that notes, that's overall, I think it's a great learning experience in today's meeting. We already doing a great job, but we need to challenge ourselves, including me, how we become the better version each and every area, so that next generation will follow us. Yes, this is leadership speak, and we are doing something special, not only for the members, we are changing the world. That's a simple message. It's time to hand over the podium to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you to our evaluators for your insightful and constructive feedback. You help us grow and become better speakers and leaders. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Joyce, who will share her thoughts on today's theme. Joyce is a Toastmaster on her journey to becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. She believes that as stewards, we are responsible for those we mentor and coach, guiding and supporting them in their growth. Please join me in welcoming Joyce.
Today, we have learned something that is very vital, being stewards, or leading as a steward. So what does it entail, being a steward? It is more than holding a title. It's being a guardian. It's about carrying responsibility with care, integrity, and foresight. As the theme leads today, we are entrusted not just with tasks, but with people, resources, and the future direction of our work. Stewardship means protecting what has been built, nurturing what is growing, and preparing the ground for what is yet to come. Our education speaker today, our president, has reminded us about an acronym that will carry us for a long time, even as we lead as stewards, STEER, which stands for service, trust, excellence, expectation, and responsibility. In my journey as a president in my local club, I am looking to growing my members, acting as a steward in their journey, acting as a steward even to my ExCo members that I lead. True stewardship calls for humility. We don't lead for recognition, we lead to serve. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Joyce. And now the moment we were been waiting for. It's time to recognize excellence in both speaking and evaluation. May we have the results for best speaker and best evaluator, please? Congratulations to Holmes Teng for the best effort speaker. And congratulations to Leya Musunga for the best effort evaluator. And congratulations to every member who took on the role, delivered a speech, or contributed to this meeting. Thank you. In leadership speak, every effort matters because every effort is an act of stewardship. As we reflect on today's theme, lead us, stewards, we saw that leadership is not about holding a position. It is about taking responsibility. We saw stewardship in action in our speakers, in our evaluators, and in every role player who helped this meeting run smoothly. Today reminded us that effective leaders do not assume. They observe, they listen, and they act. They protect what matters today, and they strengthen it for tomorrow. As you leave this meeting, I invite you to carry one question with you. What am I responsible for, and how can I take better care of it? Because when we lead as stewards, we don't just lead, we create lasting impact. Thank you, everyone. I now invite our President Holmes for guest comments. Holmes.
Thank you so much, TMOD. Thank you so much, TMOD. Let's have a moment to speak to some of our guests as well as some of our members. Lame Toa, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Lame Toa, are you available? Are you available to speak to us for a while? If you are in a while, do unmute yourself. We welcome you to have some comments with us. Members, I also like to introduce our latest member who has recently just joined us, Christina. Christina, can I invite you to share some of your comments?
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Christina. I'm your newest member. I was very inspired today by our club president's keynote speech. I thought, yes, he improved a lot since the last time I know him. Back to you, club president.
Okay. For those who know, don't know. Those who don't know, I will talk a bit more after the post meeting. I also like to invite Helene to share some comments. Helene, this is your very first time as TMOD. And just before this, you were sharing with members and guests who joined a bit earlier that you felt some anxiety around. How do you feel now? Just the last part to end the meeting, but before that, how do you feel now? Helene.
Yeah, I want to share with you a little bit about my process. Before and during the meeting, I was very, very nervous. Yeah, I was so very nervous about some words I didn't or I haven't pronounced correctly, and I feel stressful for that, especially the word steward. I realized I pronounced correctly stewardship, but steward I can't. But that is the process I realized because English is my third language, and I am learning to accept. Yeah, my process little by little, and that's it. Leadership speak. Have teaching me, and thank you very much for all members. They are work hard and encourage me a lot about this process. And I think I can't do it alone. And I thank you very much to all of you for this meeting. Yeah, thank you. That is great job. Thank for you, all of you. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Helene. Based on the comments that Helene was sharing, here I'd like to encourage members to consider from two perspectives. Number one is to actively ask for roles. This includes the TMOD and your educational speaker, because those are the roles that will really push you in terms of your coordination, in terms of your speaking skills, so that your growth gets accelerated. A second perspective is that as audience, sometimes as evaluators, we also have to train ourselves to be able to understand different kinds of accents, different kinds of using English. And even when there might be technological issues, which happened in one of our previous advanced evaluation workshop, how then, as a professional leader, as a professional Toastmasters, do you react, respond to the various challenges that the person you're evaluating, which may very well be your colleague at work, how do you respond and react to that so that the meeting can still go on? How do you make your best sense of it so that you can also provide an authentic and encouraging as well as an appropriate response? With that, I'd like to hand back over to the TMOD to conclude this meeting, as well as for her to host a post-meeting discussion, which all members and guests, you are welcome to stay with us. Back to you, Helene.
Thank you, Holmes. And thank you everyone for your presence, your energy, and your contributions today. Let us carry forward the spirit of leading as stewards, protecting what matters, supporting one another, and growing together. With that, this meeting is now adjourned. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.